Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Globe, your favorite place to practice real, natural English and improve your listening and speaking skills step by step, day by day. My name is Adam, and I'm so happy that you're joining us today for another episode where we help you learn English in a fun, easy, and relaxing way, even if you're just a beginner. In this special episode, we are going to talk about one of the most powerful and effective ways to improve your English speaking, listening, pronunciation, and even your confidence. And that method is called shadowing practice, which means listening carefully to someone speaking English and then trying to repeat what they say exactly, just like an echo, right after you hear it. Now, if you've never heard about shadowing before, don't worry, because Julia and I are going to explain everything clearly. And we're also going to do some live practice with you during this podcast, so you can follow along, repeat after us, and train your mouth and ears to understand and speak English better than ever before.
Hi everyone, it's Julia here, and I'm so excited to be with you in this episode of the English Globe, where we help you learn English slowly, clearly, and naturally, just like how people learn their first language as children. Today we're focusing on shadowing because it's one of the best techniques for students who are learning English alone at home, and especially for students who feel shy or nervous when speaking English with others. Shadowing is simple but very powerful because it trains your brain, your ears, and your mouth all at the same time. And the best part is, you don't need a teacher, a partner, or even a classroom. You just need your ears, your voice, and a little bit of time every day to repeat and copy English sounds until they become comfortable and natural for you. In this episode, Adam and I will guide you through the whole process. And we'll also share with you our favorite shadowing tips, easy practice sentences, and ways you can use shadowing to improve not just your English speaking, but also your listening, pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency, step by step, slowly and clearly, with no stress.
That's right, Julia. And one of the best things about shadowing is that it doesn't matter if your English is very basic or if you still make mistakes when you speak. Because shadowing is not about being perfect. It's about getting used to the sound, the rhythm, and the flow of English, so that little by little you can speak more smoothly, understand more quickly, and feel more confident when you use English in real-life situations like talking to a friend, traveling, asking questions, or even working in an English-speaking job. In today's podcast, we will talk about what shadowing really is, how you can start shadowing even if you've never done it before, how to avoid common mistakes, and how to create your own daily shadowing routine that will help you get better every day, even if you only have 10 or 15 minutes to practice.
And if this is your first time listening to our podcast, don't worry. We always speak slowly, clearly, and with lots of repetition so that you can understand, follow, and learn without feeling confused or tired. Just sit back, relax, and listen to the way we speak. And when we give you a chance to repeat and practice, don't be afraid to speak out loud, because that's the key to improving your speaking skills. Not just listening, but also speaking, copying, and repeating again and again until the English sounds feel comfortable in your mouth. Shadowing is like training at the gym for your speaking muscles. And just like exercise, the more you practice, the stronger and better you get.
So get ready, everyone, because this episode is going to be full of simple examples, clear explanations, and fun speaking exercises to help you master English speaking with the power of shadowing practice. Whether you're at home, on a walk, or sitting with your notebook, we're here with you, step by step, to help you grow your English skills with confidence. Now let's begin with the most important question. What is shadowing, and why does it work so well? All right, now let's talk more deeply about what shadowing really is, and why so many English learners around the world use this technique to improve their speaking, listening, pronunciation, and even their confidence when they speak English in everyday life. Shadowing, in the simplest words, means that you listen to someone speaking in English, maybe a native speaker, or even us right now, and then, as soon as you hear a sentence or a phrase, you try to repeat the same words using the same tone, rhythm, and pronunciation, just like you are an echo or a shadow of the speaker. You don't need to translate the sentence into your native language, and you don't need to understand every single word at first. The most important thing is to listen carefully and then try to repeat exactly what you hear so that your brain and your mouth start working together to copy the natural sound of English, little by little, until it becomes easier and more natural for you to speak without thinking too much.
Yes, Adam. And what makes shadowing so special is that it helps you learn English the way babies and young children learn their first language, not by studying grammar rules or doing writing exercises, but by listening and repeating what they hear over and over again, until the words and sounds become part of their everyday speaking. When you practice shadowing regularly, you start to notice how native speakers pronounce certain words, how they connect words together in a sentence, how their voice rises and falls, and how the rhythm of English flows from one word to the next. And by copying this natural speech again and again, your own speaking starts to sound more clear, smooth, and confident. Even if you don't say the sentence perfectly the first time, don't worry, because shadowing is not about being perfect. It's about getting used to the music of English and building the habit of speaking more clearly, slowly, and correctly just by listening and repeating every day.
That's exactly right, Julia. And I want to remind our listeners that shadowing is a very flexible and personal method, which means you can do it anywhere, anytime, and with any kind of English material that you like, such as podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, TV shows, English news, or even short conversations like the one you're listening to right now between me and Julia. The important thing is to choose something that is not too difficult for your level, something where the speaker talks slowly and clearly, and then play the audio, listen carefully to one sentence or phrase at a time, and try to repeat what you hear out loud using the same words, the same speed, and the same sound as the speaker. You can pause the audio if you need more time to repeat, or you can go back and listen again if you missed something. And every time you do this, you are training your ear to recognize the sounds of English more easily, and training your mouth to say those sounds correctly.
And one of the best things about shadowing, especially for beginners, is that it helps you become more comfortable with speaking English out loud, even if you're alone at home and don't have a language partner to practice with. In fact, many students tell us that they feel shy or nervous when they try to speak English in front of other people, but when they use shadowing practice regularly, their fear becomes smaller and their voice becomes stronger because they are practicing in a safe, quiet place where no one is judging them or correcting them all the time. When you shadow often, you also start to learn useful expressions and common sentence patterns that you can use in real-life conversations. Things like greetings, asking questions, giving answers, or talking about your day. And over time, your vocabulary grows, your grammar improves naturally, and your speaking becomes more automatic without needing to stop and think so much about every word.
Yes, and I know many of you are wondering right now, but Adam, what if I don't understand all the words when I listen? Or, what if I make mistakes while I'm shadowing? And I want to say, that's completely okay. Because understanding and speaking English is not about being perfect. It's about making progress every day by taking small, consistent steps, and shadowing helps you do exactly that. When you start, you don't have to understand 100%. Just focus on repeating what you hear, even if it's only 70% or 80%. And as you keep listening and practicing, your understanding will grow naturally, because your brain is getting more and more familiar with how English sounds. Also, when you repeat the same audio many times, you begin to notice details that you didn't catch before. Maybe a word you missed, or a new phrase that you can now say more clearly. And every time you notice something new, it means you are improving and learning in a real, natural way.
Exactly. And I'd like to add one more important idea here for our beginner learners. When you do shadowing, you are not just copying the words. You are also copying the feeling, the energy, and the way the speaker expresses themselves in English, which is a very important part of becoming fluent and confident. English is not only about the words we say, it's also about how we say them with our tone, our voice, and our emotions. And shadowing helps you develop that natural feeling for how to speak English in a way that sounds friendly, polite, or confident, depending on the situation. So when you shadow, try to listen to how the speaker uses their voice and then try to copy that feeling too. Not just the words, but the whole expression. And this will help you sound more like a real English speaker, not just a student who memorizes grammar.
That's a great point, Julia. And I think now our listeners are starting to understand that shadowing is not just a listening activity, it's a speaking activity, a pronunciation exercise, and a confidence-building tool, all in one, and anyone can do it, no matter what level they are at. In the next part of the podcast, we're going to give you a simple step-by-step guide to help you start shadowing today, even if you've never tried it before. We'll explain how to choose the right audio, how to listen and repeat, and how to make your own shadowing practice routine that fits into your day, even if you're busy with work, school, or other activities. So stay with us and get ready to learn exactly how to use shadowing to master English speaking, one sentence at a time. Now that you understand what shadowing is and why it's such a powerful method for improving your English speaking and listening skills, let's go through a full step-by-step guide on how to do shadowing practice in the most simple, effective, and enjoyable way, especially if you're a beginner and you're just starting your English journey. The most important thing to remember is that shadowing doesn't require anything special. You don't need to buy expensive books, download complicated apps, or take difficult lessons. All you really need is an audio or video file in English, a device to play the sound like your phone or computer, a quiet place where you can speak freely without feeling shy or embarrassed, and of course, a little bit of time every day to focus and practice with your voice. In this section, Julia and I will walk you through each part of the process so that you can follow along and build your own shadowing routine step by step.
All right, let's begin with step 1. Choose your audio carefully. This is a very important step, especially for beginner learners, because if you choose something too fast, too advanced, or too full of difficult vocabulary, you may feel frustrated or tired, and that will make shadowing harder and less enjoyable. We recommend that you start with short, simple, and slow audio, like beginner-level podcasts, children's stories, English dialogues, or even our podcast episodes here at the English Globe, because we always speak slowly, clearly, and naturally. Try to find an audio that is around 1 to 3 minutes long at first, and make sure that the speaker's voice is easy to understand, with good pronunciation and not too much background noise. It's better to practice one short, clear audio many times than to try something too long or too difficult in the beginning, because repetition is the key to success in shadowing.
Now let's move to step 2. Listen first without speaking. Before you start repeating or shadowing the audio, we always suggest that you listen to it 1 or 2 times without trying to speak, just to get a basic idea of what the speaker is saying, how fast they talk, and how the words sound when they are connected together. This first step is like preparing your ears and brain to receive the information, and it helps you feel more comfortable when you begin to repeat. Don't worry if you don't understand everything in the first listen. That's totally normal. Just try to focus on the speaker's rhythm, tone, and pronunciation, and pay attention to any words or phrases that you already know. If there are subtitles or a transcript available, you can read along the second time, but we recommend listening without reading the first time, so your ears can practice hearing English more naturally.
Great. And now comes step 3. Shadow the audio. 1 sentence at a time. This is the heart of shadowing practice, and it's where the real improvement begins. Play the audio again, but this time, pause it after each sentence or short phrase and try to repeat exactly what the speaker says. Use the same words, the same speed, the same tone, and even the same emotional feeling, as if you are trying to become that person for a moment. This step is not just about saying the words, it's about copying the full way the speaker uses English. Don't worry if you can't repeat perfectly the first time. Repeat the same sentence 2 or 3 times if you need to. If you can, record yourself and compare your voice to the original speaker. This will help you hear the difference and slowly improve your pronunciation and rhythm. Remember, this is not a test, and it's okay to make mistakes. Shadowing is about learning by doing, not about being perfect.
That's right, Julia. And I'd like to talk now about step 4. Repeat the whole audio several times. After you've practiced each sentence or phrase, it's time to try shadowing the whole audio from beginning to end, without stopping. This part can feel a little difficult at first, but it's a great way to test your memory, your speaking flow, and your confidence. Don't worry if you miss a few words or feel like you're too slow. It's all part of the learning process. Try to shadow the same audio 3, 4, or even 5 times on different days. The more you repeat the same audio, the more comfortable and natural the words will feel in your mouth, and the more automatic your speaking will become. This is how you train your brain to speak English without thinking too much, which is one of the most important goals of shadowing practice.
Now we move to step 5. Build a daily shadowing routine. If you want to see real improvement in your speaking and listening, the key is to practice shadowing regularly, not just once a week, but a little every day. You don't need to practice for hours and hours. Even 10 to 20 minutes of focused shadowing every day can make a big difference over time. Choose a time that works for you. Maybe in the morning before breakfast, during a walk, while doing housework, or in the evening before you go to bed. And try to make shadowing part of your daily habit. If you miss a day, don't worry. Just start again the next day. The goal is not perfection, it's consistency. The more you repeat, the more progress you will see. Keep a journal if you want, where you write down which audio you practiced, how many times you repeated it, and any new words or phrases you learned. That way, you can see your progress and feel more motivated to keep going.
And finally, here's step 6. Use different types of audio as you grow. When you feel more comfortable with beginner-level audio, you can slowly move to more advanced materials, such as English news, interviews, movie clips, YouTube videos, and real-life conversations. Try to choose topics that interest you or that match your personal goals, like travel, food, hobbies, business, or daily life. This will help you stay motivated and excited to practice. Also, try to shadow different speakers with different accents, voices, and speaking styles so your ears get used to understanding English in many different situations. Shadowing is a journey, and the more you explore different types of audio, the more confident and fluent you will become in speaking English like a real communicator.
That's such an important point, Adam, and I want to say to all our listeners, don't worry if your shadowing practice doesn't feel perfect or easy in the beginning. Everyone feels nervous, slow, or unsure when they try something new. But with time and daily effort, you will become faster, stronger, and more confident in your English. Think of shadowing like learning to play a musical instrument or learning how to dance. You have to listen, copy, repeat, and practice regularly to get better. And soon the movements, or in this case the words and sounds, will become more natural and automatic. So don't give up, even if it feels a little hard at first. Just keep practicing every day and you will be amazed by how much progress you can make in just a few weeks.
Yes, and now that you understand all the steps of shadowing, from choosing your audio to listening carefully, repeating slowly, building a routine, and expanding your practice, we're going to give you some live shadowing exercises that you can do right now with us. In the next part of the podcast, we will speak one sentence at a time and give you time to repeat after us so you can practice shadowing live, just like in a real speaking class. So get ready to speak out loud with us, and don't worry if you make mistakes. Just try your best and enjoy the practice. Now that you've learned how shadowing works and understand each step, from choosing the right audio to building a consistent daily practice, it's time to actually try shadowing with us, right here in this podcast episode. We're going to give you a live and practical shadowing experience, which means that we'll say a sentence slowly and clearly, then pause for a few seconds to give you time to repeat it after us, and then we'll move on to the next sentence in the same way. If you're in a quiet place where you can speak out loud, that's perfect. If you feel shy or you're in public, you can even whisper or just move your mouth silently for now. The goal here is to copy our pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and word connection as closely as you can, because the more you practice like this, the more natural and fluent your English will become over time.
Exactly. And don't worry about making mistakes. It's completely okay if your pronunciation isn't perfect or if you forget a word. The most important thing is that you speak out loud, copy the sounds, and try again and again. That's how your brain learns and your mouth gets stronger and faster with English. You can always replay this section and repeat the practice as many times as you like. In this part, we will use simple sentences that are useful in real-life situations, so you can start building the habit of speaking English clearly and confidently. Are you ready? Let's begin with some easy daily phrases you can use every day. Listen carefully, and when you hear silence, repeat the sentence out loud.
I wake up early every morning to start my day with energy and focus. I brush my teeth and take a shower before I have my breakfast. I usually eat some eggs, toast, and a cup of tea or coffee in the morning. After breakfast, I check my schedule and prepare for my work or studies. I always try to stay positive and focused, no matter how busy my day gets.
Great job. Let's continue with a few more simple sentences that describe your day and your actions. These are useful for daily conversation and practicing natural speaking rhythm. Remember to listen, repeat, and feel the sounds as you speak. I go to work or school by bus, train, or sometimes I walk if the weather is nice. When I arrive, I greet my co-workers or classmates and start my tasks. I take small breaks during the day to rest, stretch, and relax my mind. At lunch, I usually eat something light like a sandwich, salad, or some rice and vegetables. In the afternoon, I try to finish my work and stay organized until the day ends.
Very good. You're doing amazing. Now, let's practice some polite expressions that you can use in conversations with other people. These are very common in English, and learning how to say them naturally will help you speak more confidently with others. Excuse me, can you help me find this place on the map? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Could you please repeat it more slowly? Thank you very much for your help. I really appreciate your kindness. Nice to meet you. My name is Adam, and I'm learning English too. Have a great day. I hope everything goes well for you.
Let's now try a small dialogue. Adam will say one sentence, and then I'll answer him. After each sentence, you repeat what we say, just like we've been doing. This will help you practice both asking and answering in English conversations.
Hello, Julia. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. How about you, Adam?
I'm fine, thanks. Did you do anything interesting this weekend?
Yes, I went to the park with my family and we had a picnic.
That sounds lovely. The weather was perfect for a picnic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was sunny and warm. We really enjoyed the fresh air and sunshine.
Great work. That was a very simple but helpful way to practice natural conversations in English. When you shadow dialogues like this, you start to understand how people really speak in daily life. Not just the words they use, but how their voices go up and down, how they pause, and how they connect ideas in a friendly and natural way. You can try this with movies, shows, or YouTube videos too, just like we're doing here. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you will feel in real conversations.
Before we finish this shadowing session, let's do a short paragraph together. Adam will read a short story slowly and clearly. After each sentence, we will pause so you can repeat. Don't rush. Just focus on speaking clearly and copying the rhythm and sounds.
Last Saturday, I went to the supermarket to buy some food for the weekend. I made a shopping list before I left, so I wouldn't forget anything important. At the store, I picked up some fruits, vegetables, rice, and a few snacks. I also bought some milk, eggs, and bread because I use them almost every day. After I finished shopping, I paid at the counter and thanked the cashier. When I got home, I put everything in the fridge and made a nice meal.
You did such a great job today. Shadowing is not just a learning method. It's a daily speaking workout that trains your mouth, your ears, and your brain to think and speak in English more fluently. And just like with exercise, the more you do it, the stronger and more confident you become. So keep practicing with this episode and feel free to replay this section as often as you need. In the next part of this podcast, we'll talk about how to choose the best content for your shadowing practice and give you some of our favorite resources, channels, and tools for beginner learners. Are you ready to level up your practice? Let's keep going.
All right, now that you've had a full shadowing practice session with us, and hopefully you repeated the sentences out loud and really felt your mouth moving with English sounds, let's take a deep look into the kinds of materials and tools that are best for shadowing, especially for beginners like you, who are just starting to build confidence in speaking English clearly and fluently. You see, one of the most important things when it comes to shadowing is choosing the right audio or video to copy. Because if you try to shadow something that is too fast, too advanced, or full of difficult words, you might feel confused, frustrated, or tired very quickly. But if you start with something that matches your level, and you can understand and hear every word clearly, then you'll actually enjoy the practice, and you'll improve much faster. So, in this section, we're going to share some of the best types of content you can use for shadowing, along with specific platforms, apps, and YouTube channels that can help you learn naturally, step by step.
That's right, Adam. One of the best types of content to use for shadowing, especially when you're just beginning, is slow and clear English that is made for English learners. These are usually videos or audio lessons where the speaker talks slowly, uses simple vocabulary, and repeats key phrases more than once. This helps you understand what's being said and also gives you a chance to listen carefully and copy the sound with confidence. You can find this kind of content on YouTube by searching for channels that teach English using slow speech. For example, some popular channels are Speak English with Mr. Duncan, BBC Learning English, Voice of America Learning English, and of course the English Globe, which is our very own channel designed just for learners like you who want to improve through fun, long, and real English conversations. When choosing a video, make sure it has subtitles in English so you can read while you listen, and try to pick topics that you enjoy or find interesting. The more you enjoy the content, the more likely you are to keep practicing every day.
Yes, and another great option is listening to short English stories or dialogues where two or more people are talking slowly and naturally. Dialogues are perfect for shadowing because they let you hear how people really speak to each other in real life. You get to hear questions, answers, polite phrases, casual expressions, and everyday situations like going shopping, meeting a friend, or asking for directions. One really helpful app that offers simple conversations is elo.org. It has audio and video lessons with slow speech, transcripts, and sometimes quizzes too. Another tool is youglish.com, where you can type any word or phrase and see how it's spoken in real videos from YouTube. This is helpful when you want to hear how native speakers pronounce a specific word or phrase in many different ways. There's also LingQ, a platform where you can read and listen to real English content, and even save words you don't know. But if you're just getting started, don't worry about using too many tools. Just start with simple videos from YouTube, like the ones we make here on the English Globe, and slowly add more tools as you get comfortable.
Another thing that many learners find useful is using English subtitles or transcripts during shadowing. At first, when you're not confident with listening, it helps to read and listen at the same time. This gives your brain a clear connection between the sound of the word and the way it looks when it's written. Later, when you're more confident, you can try listening without reading. But in the beginning, feel free to use subtitles. Many English learning videos have subtitles built in, or you can turn them on through YouTube settings. Also, some podcasts and audio lessons come with full transcripts, which is great because you can read them like a book and repeat what you hear line by line. Another helpful practice is printing out the transcript and highlighting the parts you want to focus on. For example, difficult words, interesting expressions, or parts where the speaker pauses or changes their tone. You can even write notes next to the lines, like how to pronounce a word or what a phrase means. Shadowing becomes much more powerful when you prepare a little before you practice. And having a printed or digital transcript helps you stay focused and improve your listening and reading at the same time.
Now let's talk about shadowing with movies and TV shows. This is a fun but slightly more advanced method that you can try once you've practiced with beginner-friendly materials for a while. The reason movies and shows are useful is because they give you real-life English with natural speaking speed, emotions, and expressions that people actually use every day. But as a beginner, you should choose shows that are made for kids or young learners because they usually use simpler English, slower speech, and clearer pronunciation. For example, shows like Peppa Pig, Dora the Explorer, Martha Speaks, or even Sesame Street are great for beginners. You can also find English learning cartoons or animated series on YouTube. When you shadow a TV show, try to pick a short scene, maybe just 1 minute long. Watch it once with subtitles, then watch it again and repeat each sentence after the character. If it's too fast, you can pause the video, copy the sentence, then play again. It's okay to rewind and repeat 5 or even 10 times. Remember, you're not just watching, you're practicing speaking out loud like the characters.
Yes, and don't forget about using your own voice recorder or phone to help with shadowing. This is something we really recommend. When you shadow, try recording yourself on your phone while you repeat the sentences from the video or audio. After a few minutes, stop and listen to your voice. Compare it with the original speaker. Can you hear the difference in speed, pronunciation, or tone? Don't worry if it doesn't sound the same at first. That's normal. But by listening to your own voice, you become more aware of how you speak English, and you can make small changes to sound more natural. This builds your confidence over time, and it's really fun too. Many learners feel proud when they hear themselves speaking clearly in English. You can even create a daily shadowing journal where you record 1 or 2 minutes of speaking every day and listen back after a few weeks to hear how much you've improved. Small progress every day leads to big success later.
To make your shadowing habit strong, we also suggest creating a simple daily routine that includes a few minutes of shadowing every day. You don't need to spend an hour each time. Even 10 to 15 minutes is enough if you do it regularly. You can shadow during your morning routine, while you walk, or before you sleep, and always choose topics you enjoy. If you love cooking, find a cooking video in English. If you love traveling, watch travel vlogs with subtitles. Shadowing should be interesting, not boring. It's not about studying hard. It's about practicing smart. So pick your materials wisely, stay consistent, and remember, you are building your English fluency 1 sentence at a time.
That's right. So to quickly review, the best shadowing materials for beginners are slow English learning videos, simple conversations with subtitles, short stories or podcasts with transcripts, and easy-to-understand shows or cartoons. Use apps like YouTube, Voice of America, LingQ, or even your phone's voice recorder. And most importantly, choose content that makes you smile, laugh, and feel excited to speak English. Because when you enjoy the journey, you will stay motivated. And that's the secret to becoming a fluent speaker.
All right. Now that we've talked about the best tools and materials for shadowing practice, let's move on to something just as important, maybe even more important than anything else. And that is how to stay motivated and how to build a daily habit of shadowing practice, even when life gets busy, even when you feel tired, and even when you don't feel like practicing at all. You see, learning English is not something that happens all at once, like magic. It's a journey that takes time, effort, and patience. But the truth is, if you do a little bit every day, even just 10 minutes, you will start to see results, and those small improvements will give you the energy to keep going. A lot of students ask me, Adam, how can I stay motivated when I feel like I'm not improving fast enough? And my answer is always the same. Motivation is not something that just comes from the outside. It's something you create by showing up, taking action, and building a small daily routine that becomes part of your life.
Yes, and I think one of the biggest reasons people stop practicing shadowing or stop learning English in general is because they expect quick results. They want to speak like a native in a few weeks, or they want to understand everything after just a few videos. But language learning doesn't work that way. It's more like growing a tree. You plant the seed, you water it every day, and slowly, over time, the roots grow deeper and the branches get stronger, until one day you realize you're speaking English with confidence and understanding things that used to feel impossible. So if you want to stay motivated, don't focus on perfection or big results. Focus on small daily actions. Just ask yourself, what is one simple thing I can do today to practice shadowing? Maybe it's watching a 5-minute video and repeating a few sentences. Maybe it's listening to this podcast again and shadowing with us. That small effort will grow into a big success if you do it every day.
And it really helps if you create a daily habit that feels natural and easy for you to follow. Think about when during your day you have a little free time, maybe in the morning after you wake up, or during your commute to school or work, or in the evening before bed. Try to choose a time that you can use every day, even if it's just 10 minutes, and call it your English shadowing time. You can even write it on your calendar or set a reminder on your phone. The more you treat it like a real appointment, the more likely you are to do it. And don't worry if you miss a day. Just start again the next day. What matters most is staying consistent over time. Some learners even create a little shadowing corner in their room where they keep their English notebook, headphones, or favorite videos ready. That way, when it's time to practice, everything is there, and it feels like a special part of your day.
Yes, and speaking of notebooks, I always recommend keeping a small English shadowing journal or diary. It doesn't have to be fancy or perfect. Just write down what you shadowed today. Maybe the title of the video, the time you practiced, and a few sentences you learned. You can even write how you felt. For example, today I shadowed a video about shopping. I learned new phrases like, how much does it cost? I felt more confident than yesterday. This helps you see your progress over time. Later, when you feel tired or discouraged, you can open your journal, read what you've done, and feel proud of how far you've come. It also helps you review the sentences you've already practiced, so your brain remembers them better. You don't need to write a lot. Just a few lines each day will help you feel more connected to your learning journey.
That's such a great tip, Julia. And here's another thing that helps you stay motivated. Connect with other English learners who are also practicing shadowing or learning English like you. Sometimes, learning alone can feel a little boring or lonely, especially if you don't have anyone to talk to in English. But when you join a group, a class, or even an online community where people share their goals, their struggles, and their progress, you'll feel more supported and you'll also get inspired by others. There are many Facebook groups, Reddit communities, Discord servers, or even YouTube comments where learners talk about their shadowing practice, share videos, or ask questions. And of course, here at the English Globe, we love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to leave a comment below, tell us what part of the podcast you shadowed today, or even share a voice recording of your practice if you feel confident. We're building a global English family, and we want you to be part of it.
And Adam, I also think it's important to talk about emotions, because sometimes learners feel shy, nervous, or even scared to speak English, especially if they're afraid of making mistakes. But let me tell you something important. Mistakes are a natural and necessary part of learning. When you were a baby learning your first language, you made hundreds of mistakes every day. And nobody laughed, nobody judged you, and you still learned to speak fluently. So don't be afraid of making mistakes in English. In fact, when you shadow and you copy a sentence and your pronunciation sounds different from the speaker, that's okay. That means you're learning. And the more you practice, the more your pronunciation and fluency will improve. Be kind to yourself, celebrate small wins, and remember, you are already doing something amazing by learning a new language and practicing every day.
That's such a powerful message, Julia. And it brings me to the final idea in this section. Always remember why you started learning English. Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to study abroad, get a better job, make international friends, or just feel more confident. Whatever your reason is, keep it in your heart. When you feel tired or frustrated, remind yourself why you started. Think about your future self. Maybe a few months from now or a year from now, speaking English clearly, feeling proud, and having more opportunities because of the work you're doing today. Shadowing is not just about repeating words. It's about building your future, one step at a time. So stay strong, stay consistent, and believe in your progress.
That's right. So to wrap up this section, remember, to stay motivated, build a simple daily habit, write down your progress in a journal, connect with other learners, be kind to yourself when you make mistakes, and always remember your purpose. You are stronger than you think, and your English journey is just beginning. Keep shadowing with us here at the English Globe, and we promise we'll support you every step of the way.
All right, everyone, welcome back. In this part of the podcast, we're going to do something very special, something that will hopefully inspire you and give you the motivation you need to continue your English shadowing practice with even more energy and excitement than before. We're going to share real stories, true stories, from learners around the world who started just like you, with little confidence, maybe a lot of fear, and sometimes with almost no ability to speak English at all, but who decided to take shadowing seriously, to stick with it, and to trust the process, even when things felt slow or difficult. What's amazing about these stories is that they show how ordinary people, students, workers, parents, travelers, can achieve extraordinary results if they make shadowing a part of their daily routine. These stories are not about being perfect, but about being consistent, and they prove that anyone, including you, can become fluent in English with time and effort.
That's right, Adam. And the first story I want to share today comes from a young woman named Aya, who lives in Japan. Aya used to be extremely shy when it came to speaking English. She told us that even though she had studied English grammar in school for many years, she couldn't speak fluently or confidently at all. Whenever someone spoke English to her, she would freeze, her mind would go blank, and she would feel embarrassed. But one day she discovered the shadowing technique through a YouTube video, and she decided to try it. She started very small, just 5 minutes a day using a simple video with subtitles. And every day she repeated what she heard, copying the speaker's voice, tone, and rhythm. At first she felt silly, and she didn't like hearing her own voice, but after a few weeks, something changed. She started to understand more. Her sentences became smoother. And one day, she had a conversation with a tourist in Tokyo, and she didn't freeze. She said it was the first time she felt proud of her English, and she knew shadowing had changed everything for her.
Wow, that's such a powerful story, Julia. And what I love about Aya's story is how simple her routine was. Just 5 minutes a day. A lot of learners think they need to study for hours to improve, but in reality, it's more important to do a little every day than to do too much once in a while. Now let's hear about another learner. His name is Daniel, and he lives in Brazil. Daniel is a college student who wanted to learn English to apply for a scholarship abroad, but he struggled with speaking because he always translated everything in his head before speaking, and that made him slow and nervous. Then, one day, a friend introduced him to shadowing. Daniel began shadowing English podcasts while walking to school every morning, and after just 3 months, he noticed that he could understand conversations more naturally and even respond faster without translating in his head. He told us that shadowing helped him think in English, which is one of the biggest goals for many learners. Daniel eventually passed his English interview for the scholarship, and he credits shadowing as the biggest reason for his success.
That's amazing, Adam. And it reminds me of another story. This one is about an older learner named Fatima from Egypt. Fatima is a mother of 3, and she always dreamed of learning English so she could help her children with their homework and maybe even travel someday. But she always thought she was too old to learn, or that it was too late to start. Then she came across one of our episodes and heard us talking about shadowing. She decided to give it a try. She started practicing while cooking or doing housework, using short audio clips and repeating the phrases out loud. Her children would laugh sometimes, but she didn't let that stop her. Slowly, she began to enjoy it. She even started teaching her children some of the phrases she learned. After 6 months, she felt comfortable enough to have a short conversation with a tourist at a museum, and she was so happy, she cried when she got home. Fatima told us, "I may not speak perfectly, but I speak from the heart, and that's enough for me."
That's such a touching story, Julia. Fatima is a great example of how it's never too late to start learning. No matter your age, background, or experience, shadowing can help you build confidence and improve your English naturally. And now I want to share one more story, this one from a teenager named Rahul in India. Rahul was very passionate about technology and dreamed of working in the tech industry, but he knew he needed English to achieve that goal. He found English very difficult at first, especially pronunciation, and he didn't like the way his voice sounded in English. But instead of giving up, he started recording himself while shadowing English videos about technology, and he listened to the recordings every night. He noticed where he made mistakes and tried to improve them the next day. After a few months, his pronunciation improved a lot. He joined an online tech forum where everyone spoke English, and now he participates in discussions with confidence. He told us, "Shadowing made me believe that English is not just for native speakers. It's for anyone who works hard."
That's such a strong message to end this section, Adam. Shadowing is not just a method. It's a tool that gives people the power to believe in themselves, to grow step by step, and to connect with the world through English. All of these stories, Aya from Japan, Daniel from Brazil, Fatima from Egypt, and Rahul from India, show us that learning English is possible for everyone, and shadowing is one of the most effective ways to make that journey easier, more enjoyable, and more successful. If they can do it, so can you.
Exactly. And if you're listening right now, we want you to be the next success story. Start small, stay consistent, and never forget that every sentence you repeat, every video you shadow, and every minute you spend practicing is a step closer to your goal. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. And remember, we're here with you every step of the way. Julia, I want to ask you something important about practicing English every day. I know shadowing is very helpful, but sometimes I find it hard to keep a daily habit. How can beginners like me build a strong habit of shadowing without losing motivation?
That's a great question, Adam, and it's something many English learners struggle with. The key to building a daily shadowing habit is to choose a specific time each day when you can practice regularly, like setting a special appointment just for yourself. It could be in the morning before starting your work or school, during a lunch break, or even in the evening when you have some free time. When you practice at the same time every day, your brain gets used to it, and shadowing becomes a natural part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. Also, preparing your shadowing materials before you start can help you avoid wasting time searching for what to listen to so you can jump right into speaking practice.
That makes a lot of sense, Julia. I also feel that sometimes shadowing can get a bit boring if I listen to the same sentences over and over. How can I make shadowing fun so I want to keep doing it?
Yes, Adam. Making shadowing enjoyable is really important to stay motivated. One way to do this is by choosing materials that interest you. If you like sports, try shadowing conversations about football or basketball. If you like cooking, find videos or audio about recipes and kitchen tips. When you listen to topics you enjoy, it doesn't feel like hard work. It feels like learning while having fun. Another idea is to add variety to your practice. Some days, practice with slow, easy sentences, and other days, challenge yourself with faster or longer sentences. Changing the difficulty keeps your brain active and helps you avoid boredom, so learning English becomes an exciting adventure.
I see. But what if I lose motivation after a few days or weeks? Sometimes it feels like I'm not improving fast enough, and I want to stop.
That's a very common feeling, Adam. And it's okay to feel that way sometimes. One way to keep going is to set clear, small goals that are easy to achieve. For example, instead of saying, "I want to speak perfect English," you can say, "I will practice shadowing for 10 minutes every day this week." Or, "I will learn to repeat 5 new sentences perfectly by Friday." Writing down your goals and checking them off when you complete them helps you see your progress clearly. You can also keep a calendar and mark each day you practice. When you see a long chain of practice days, you will want to keep that streak going, which is very motivating. And don't forget to share your goals with friends or family so they can support you and cheer you on.
That sounds very helpful, Julia. But sometimes when I feel tired or busy, I forget why I started learning English in the first place. How can I remind myself to stay motivated when things get hard?
That's a great point, Adam. Remembering your reasons for learning English gives you energy to continue, even when it feels difficult. Think about your dreams. Maybe you want to travel to a new country, get a better job, or watch movies without subtitles. Visualize yourself speaking English confidently, having real conversations, and understanding others easily. This mental picture acts like a powerful motivation that pushes you to keep practicing every day. Every time you do shadowing, remind yourself that you are one step closer to making that dream real. Small daily efforts add up over time, and your future self will thank you for not giving up.
I like that idea, Julia. One last question. Should I reward myself when I do well? Does that really help with motivation?
Absolutely, Adam. Rewarding yourself is a wonderful way to stay positive about learning English. When you reach a goal, no matter how small, take a moment to celebrate. You can treat yourself to a favorite snack, watch a fun English video, or take a relaxing break. Rewards help your brain connect learning with good feelings, making you want to keep practicing. Also, try to use your new English skills in real life, like talking to friends or joining online groups. Using English outside of practice reminds you of how far you have come and makes learning more meaningful and exciting.
Thank you, Julia. These tips really help me understand how to build a strong shadowing habit and keep motivated. I'm excited to practice every day and see my English improve.
You're welcome, Adam. Remember, with patience and daily practice, you will become more confident and fluent in English. Keep shadowing, keep speaking, and never stop believing in yourself. We're all here to support you at the English Globe.
Julia, as we come to the end of today's podcast about mastering English speaking with shadowing practice, I just want to say how grateful I am for all the useful advice you've shared. For beginners like me, it can feel overwhelming to start practicing speaking, but hearing these tips makes the path clearer and more encouraging.
Thank you, Adam. It's been wonderful discussing this important topic with you. I want to remind all our listeners that learning English is a journey that takes time, patience, and a lot of practice. But shadowing is one of the most effective and enjoyable ways to improve your speaking skills step by step. Remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes and never compare your progress with others. Focus on your own growth and celebrate every little success along the way.
That's a great reminder, Julia. I know many learners feel frustrated when they don't see fast results. But shadowing helps build not only fluency, but also confidence, which is just as important. So to everyone listening, I encourage you to start shadowing today. Choose simple sentences, repeat them out loud, and do it every day, even if just for a few minutes. Your English will improve more than you expect.
Exactly, Adam. Consistency is the key. And don't forget to make your practice fun and interesting by choosing topics you love and recording yourself to hear your progress. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Listen, speak, and enjoy the process. And if you ever feel stuck, come back to our podcast here at the English Globe for more tips and motivation.
Before we finish, Julia, do you have any final words of encouragement for our listeners who might be nervous about speaking English?
Of course, Adam. To all our listeners, remember this. Every great speaker was once a beginner. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to try. Speak with your heart, practice regularly, and trust the process. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And most importantly, believe in yourself, because you have the ability to master English just like anyone else.
Thank you so much, Julia, and thank you to everyone listening. We hope today's episode gives you the confidence and motivation to keep practicing shadowing and speaking English every day. Don't forget to subscribe to the English Globe for more helpful podcasts, and share this episode with your friends who want to improve their English too.
Yes, thank you all. Keep practicing, stay positive, and see you next time on the English Globe. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep shining and speaking English with confidence.